I have found my way to the Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve here just outside of Council Grove, Kansas. And I was told by several people that knew I was coming down to this part of Kansas that if I came into this area, I should definitely stop by and check this place out. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you along. It's a little bit windy. Well, a little bit would be a bit of an understatement. It's quite windy today, so doing a walk and talk might be a little bit challenging, as it always is when you've got the noise of the wind blowing into the microphone. But I'll do my best regardless. And as I walk in, you can see some of the rather large buildings. I'm assuming that's a barn off in the distance, but I'm going to start in the visitor center, which is right here, and that'll give me a better idea as to what the preserve is all about. So let's go check out the visitor center. Welcome to Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve. Once covering 170 million acres, the Tallgrass Prairie has been reduced by about 96%. Today, only small fragments of prairie remain, with the exception of a relatively large contiguous tract of tallgrass prairie found in the Flint Hills of Kansas and Oklahoma. The preserve displays a small portion of the Flint Hills and presents important cultural stories of this landscape, including the transition from open cattle range to enclosed cattle ranches. The preserve is operated in partnership between the National Park Service and the Nature Conservancy. So, here we go. It's always nice to go into the visitor center. And here they have a representation of what you see. There's the visitor center, and then there is the Lower Creek Fox School. So they've got several buildings here: the ranch house, the curing house, the outhouse, and the ice house, and several other buildings. So we'll go explore these buildings and bring you along as I do. Here's the look at this. Very nice. I guess they have bison here as well. Now I don't know if this is open, but let's hopefully it is. Sure. Yeah, it's open. So here's the visitor center.
Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How you doing?
Fantastic. Beautiful. Look at this. Very nice. I heard it's a small preserve. Now here I've got to get one of these for my camper. There you go. That'll be my first one of the trip. TAPR. Wonderful. Looks like they have a lot of information here. Mr. Jones has received a fair profit on his investment from the sale of fine stock and will continue to breed cattle carefully, not handling any more cattle than he can look after properly himself. No one in the state will be found who is more interested in the improvements of livestock and who contributes more cheerfully to that end. All types of information. Here they burn the prairie every year in the spring. Here you might see a coyote. I actually saw one of these coyotes yesterday. Look at that. I would imagine that that's the actual size. Boy, a lot of wonderful information here. Look at this. Here's your view of the prairie. can see all types of little critters down here. There's a rabbit. Down here, I don't quite sure what that is. And here's a American badger looking for some lunch. All types of critters. And up a copy of a red-tailed hawk. Look at that. Very nice. All right. So we'll go and talk a little bit to the ranger here. There's some fur. There's your beaver. There's your beaver fur. And there's your bison. Wonderful. All right. Very nice. Okay, let's go look at the park. Well, I don't know how much luck I'll have, but just up about a half mile, maybe to a mile, we may have the opportunity to see some grazing buffalo. And the gentleman was telling me that over here is a ranch. So this was a fully operational ranch back in the day, and the building that's open is you can actually walk through the barn of the ranch, and they'll be opening up the ranch house for visitors here in maybe by the end of the month. But there's several other buildings that you can take a look at from the outside, including I think the outhouse and the ice house and maybe some other buildings as well. So actually very quite scenic, and if we're lucky we'll have an opportunity to see some bison. Here's a nice view just up the trail, looking back at the property here. Quite beautiful. Really beautiful. Well, this is about as far as I'm gonna walk, and you may not see it, but I see a few bison off in the distance. But what a view. Look at that. Just endless rolling green hills. Really quite a sight. All right, I'm gonna work my way back. Well, here's a nice picture for you. Look at this. Looks like Mr. Ed. And I think he wants to say hello. He wants some love. Yeah, you want a little attention. Huh? Don't you? You want some attention. Oh, I wonder what you look like with the crocodile Tomo hat on. Huh? There you go. Huh? There you go. Sure. Uh-huh. All right. Anyway, let's go see the barn. Well, I've made it to the barn, and I'm not quite sure where the entrance is. Well, I would imagine it would be right here. Look at this ramp that they had going up to what I'm assuming would be the loft. So we'll go inside and take a peek. Don't have to worry about the wind in here. And boy, it's actually cooler, much cooler in here.
These fires would race unchecked across the prairie for hundreds of miles until it came to a river wide enough to stop. What was left behind
Wow.
like the surface of the moon, with limestone against the blackened prairie.
So they have a video playing about the process of burning the prairie. And here's a view looking out. And our four-legged friend somewhere out there. Look at that.
Has been translated to mean people of the
Very
South.
nice.
The value of bison to the Plains Indians is well documented. This magnificent animal provided food, shelter, weapons, tools, medicine, and figured prominently in ceremonial life. American Indians knew the potential of these grasslands and were managing the grasslands using fire or red buffalo to attract bison. They watched as the bison herd sought out the fresh new shoots in the recently burned areas. Fire also improves plant palatability to grazers.
Okay.
Large grazers of the past included bison, elk, and pronghorn.
It's like walking through history. Ensilage machine. Boy, look at that. The good old days, right? John Deere Van Brunt drill. Right there. There's the old buggy. Early transportation. Look at that. Imagine the young girls talking about what kind of buggy the guy drives. Okay. All right. So the other buildings aren't open right now. So with the exception of showing you the outside, which I'll do, I'll show you the outside of the house before wrapping up the tour. And here would be the ranch house, 1881. Look at that. Better part of 150 years of history right there. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed the tour. If you stop this way, you'll be able to actually walk inside the